basically, if I'm gonna TLDR it, and you could just stop the video here if you are watching this on the VOD that I post to youtube.com/@prostoic on the YouTubes. You just want to fight in areas that you don't control. Your cities will flip control of zones over time, depending on how much is fought in them, how many people from your nation win, how often beastmen die versus you dying to beastmen, or just monsters in general. You dying in zones in general is what I'm describing. How often the people from other nations are not dying and successfully killing things in relation to your population. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really know the ones and zeros that are going on in the background. All I can give you is vague approximates. So if you are that one guy that's like, actually it works specifically like this is a calculation, I am going to drive you insane by the time that I'm done talking. Okay, so I need you for your own mental health to go do literally anything else until this part of the VOD is over. Hello, VGFX. I hope that you're doing great. Let's see. So conquest points, what are they? Let's turn off HXUY so that you can see the little tally that you have at the bottom right. Player bar, I don't know. Yeah, nope, that's not it. Party list enabled, no thank you. And we're gonna go outside. Actually, I should be able to see it in here, shouldn't I? Yeah, so at the very bottom right of your screen, if you really squint and you zoom in, we have 34,000 conquest points. Conquest points could be used to buy things at gate guards outside of your local, you know, at the gate zone exits of your cities. Or I think that you can also buy things from gate guards that are inside of your embassies in each of the starter cities and in Juno, but you can also buy them from gate guards in Juno themselves. You will not be able to purchase anything from the gate guards of nations that are not associated with yours. They will look at you funny and probably whisper that you're both stupid and stupid looking behind your back in RP. So I would just like not even try. They won't even give you Signet, the assholes. You have to go inside your own embassy in order to get those services. So conquest points can be used to buy things at gate guards, own nation gate guards at own embassies and other starting cities. Juno has its own gate guards, which we're on our way to. You get more things available to you to buy as you rank up in your own town's vanilla missions. And sometimes those said things are restricted depending on what your rank is that I just described, and whether your city, your nation rather, is in first, second, or third. Some items, particularly ones that appear higher in the tiers of like ranks and availability to you, are just not going to be available to you unless you're rank 1. For example, the very fancy drip that I'm wearing right now, the Aicton and the Republican Signet staff, are only available to you if you're rank 10 and if you're I almost said party, if your nation is in first. Okay. Higher rank also has the benefit of giving you a longer Signet duration. It basically adds an extra hour to the amount of time that you have, where if you're rank 1 and you get Signet, the idea is that you if your city is in first, then the game's catch-up mechanic is letting other nations' people's signets last longer than yours. So if you're in first, and I'll just take a glance at our conquest map at the top right, you'll see balance of power. If you hover off of any city, you'll see Sandoria is in first, Windurst and Bastock are second and third. There's a weird little like closed bracket right there. That basically means that we're allied or close to each other, I believe. And alliances in the game, there's no actual like war that's going on. Okay, when it says alliances, it functionally means, from what I remember, it means that you'll be able to access even though it says that we're in third, Bastock is in third, you'll be able to access things that are normally only available to you that are rank, that are certain, like, oh my god, my brain is like frying right now. I'm gonna do this though, dude. I'm gonna do this. You have some items are only accessible to you if your rank, if your city's place and the balance of power is like 2 or higher or 1 or higher, like I just described. When your city, when your nation is, if it's higher in like the balance of power, then it also means that certain items that are typically inaccessible to like rank 2nd or below, as far as like the nation's like balance of power goes. Oh man, this is more than I expected. Thank you so much, Cozy. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yours now, and you are bound to them.
My brain is stopping because I've been literally talking all day, and it's like everything that I could do to sum this shit up. Because I've never said any of this crap out loud, and it sounds psychotic.
And you are bound to them.
Cozy
okay,
59.
we get it. We get it. Some items in your city are only going to be available in general, depending on the place that your nation is in. A really big example of that is cornets. So something that people do in order to increase their fame, and fame is a whole different subject, in a place called Windurst, in order to get access to certain quests that typically aren't available if you're not quote-unquote well-known. Hi, Cozy. Good. I'm sorry I'm delivering it to you in like a basically word salad type fashion. This is mostly unscripted. All I have to my side is a series of bullet points and me just rifling off information as soon as it comes to mind, loosely associated with those bullet points. So cornets typically only available in, you either farm them off of mobs like monsters, and it's awful. That's an awful process. Don't do that. Just wait until Bastock is rank 2 or higher, I believe. I can literally check right now. You can look on the wiki. The wiki is always going to be your best friend. Cornets, classic. Let's see. You can only buy them from Harmodios and Bastock when Bastock is in 1st or 2nd in like the nation's tally at the top right. So Bastock has to show rank 1 or 2. In this case, because Windurst and Bastock are allied, that should mean that you can go to Bastock right now, because Windurst and Bastock are so close in terms of tied zones, the zones that they control, that Bastock, even though it's listed as 3rd, somebody has to be 3rd. It's functionally they're in 2nd for the purposes of item availability and stuff to you. Okay, where the hell was I? The Signet duration thing. Okay, so Signet duration, in order for there to be like a catch-up mechanic, Signet lasts for you an hour longer based off of how many nations, where your nation is in the balance of power. So if you're like Bastock and you're rank 1 and you get Signet, your Signet's going to last for about 2 hours. If you're Sandorian, you're rank 2. In that case, it's going to be 3 hours. If you're Windurst, it's going to be 4 hours. That's the basic gist of it. Every rank that you get from doing your vanilla missions at home, all the way up to level 10, adds an hour that is separate from this process. So Bastock is in 3rd right now, which means that I should have 2 additional hours if I refresh my Signet on top of the 10 hours that I should just get normally. So when I refresh my Signet at the skate guard here, I should just get 12 hours. Hi, Beefy. Okay, bam. So if you can extremely squint or get your magnifying glass or whatever it is that you need to do in order to tell what I'm talking about, or actually you might not even be able to see it. You can see the very bottom of it, dude. It's because I have all these very cool overlay elements plastered the fuck all over everything. At the top left, you can see a 12. That's the Signet duration. Okay, I'm just showing you where to look. It's up there. It do be up there and whatnot. You gain more conquest points by killing things that are at least easy prey or higher in areas that your nation does not control. You gain lesser conquest points. So, for example, if you if you were to try to be a party lead, you want to be the change that you see in the world, because people can't be fucked to make their own parties. They just wait for hours and hours and hours, and they're like, this game is stupid. Nobody is inviting me. Sometimes you have to be the change. So let's say that you want to go to everyone's favorite place in the whole world, Valkyrie Dunes. You're level 11. You're feeling spicy, knees weak, mom spaghetti, and you're going out there and you're Bastoken and you're about to fuck shit up. That's great for you. If you're level like 10 to probably 19 or 20, probably not 20, but 19, 10 to 19, and you go here, you are doing exactly what you would want to do. Because you get so many more, I don't know the ratio, but you get so many more conquest points per kill if you're fighting in an area that your nation does not control. Vice versa is the case. If this was controlled by Bastok, you would get a pretty pitiful amount, basically just enough to pay your conquest points bills in the form of enough money to get your XP ring recharged when needed. All right, I'm going to take a look at chat real quick. It feels organic, man. All good. Somebody showed me how to get Pumpkinhead, so I'm living life. Did that nation start already? I make the party if I'm comfortable with where to make the party, like I know the spots. Yeah, and so much of this game is obscured from the player, which is great for bonding through mutual suffering, but is horrible if you're a new player and you're trying to figure out what the fuck you're looking at or where to go or what to do. All right. So there are so many spots, so many more spots than what's listed in like the XP camps section of the Horizon Wiki. It's just that there are certain spots that are known to be effective, and it's easier to go with the devil you know than to try to experiment. I've done experimentation. Sometimes it's amazing. I'm pretty proud that I found a camp where I could kill those ivory lizards that can drop you the required item that you need in order to get the teleport Yote Scroll quest going. I knew about that shit. I paved the way for that, even though I was the one that uploaded the information onto the XP camp. I'm just glad that somebody put it on there, because I would go there like clockwork, basically around like 28, 29 or something. Let's see here. So you gain more conquest points and vice versa by fighting in areas that you don't control, and you get less when you fight in areas that you do control. You gain 5% more experience for you fighting in areas where your nation does not control the area. So if you're a Bastoken fighting in Valkyrie Dunes in the Zolkheim region, you're just flatly getting a little bit more experience than normal. This 5% that I just described is a scaling Signet bonus from killing mobs. No, this stacks. Sorry, you get 5% just from fighting in an area that you don't control, and you get a stacking additional experience points percentage bonus from killing mobs when you or your level sync, is level 50, 60, and 70. And this can be as high as a 10% extra bonus XP if you're fighting in an area that you don't control and you're over level 70. This can be up to like 15%. So 10% if you're fighting in an area that you don't control and you're at least level 50. 12.5% extra XP if you're 60 and fighting in an area that you don't control. And the cap is 15% extra experience points just for showing up and killing shit if you are in an area that you don't control and you're at least 70. You're able to set home point at guards in areas that you don't control. Like it's commonplace for you to set your spawn at Zolkheim because it's Valkyrie Dunes. You're going to eat dirt and sand over and over again. You're just going to get slaughtered by all sorts of monsters and all sorts of fantastical and probably gross ways. It's going to be an awful time for the most part. But the saving grace for some players that are pretty sure that they're going to die, like if you're a paladin or a ninja or whatever, the people that know that they're going to get hit, or if you're a Taru, basically, if you're a Taru, then you're basically like at the razor's edge of the veil between worlds at any moment, as is. Hero knows for sure. You can set your home point here as a Bastoken in Valkyrie Dunes. They make you pay a fee because they're assholes. That's the only explanation that I have. Maybe there's a lore reason for that, but they make you pay a fee in order to set your home point there. There is a crystal that is in Selbina that sometimes people forget about, but you do have the option of setting your home point anywhere, like literally anywhere. You just have to pay a corresponding fee for that. You're able to set home point at guards in areas you control, and you can refresh Signet. So if you were to go to Gustaberg, you can set your home point there for free, and in addition, because it's controlled by your nation, you can grab Signet from there. There's not going to be too many instances where you're just like, I don't know, you just wake up and it's you have 2 minutes left to go and you just got into a party and you happen to be in some area that your place controls, and you're like, I don't want to go all the way back to wherever it was that I set my home point to or the closest Signet source, so I'm just going to go to Gustaberg and refresh my Signet. You're not really going to experience that too much, but just knowing that the option is there is nice, and there's no fee associated with it. In addition to requiring you to pay something in order to set your home point in an area that you don't control, you also cannot get Signet, which is kind of like self-explanatory, really. It's basically saying like, hey, can you give me the tools in order to take over this area? You gain control points to fill up your own nation's bar, which is how you actually flip zones when you're killing things that are easy prey or higher. So, for example, you won't actually see the bar unless you're in the area itself. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to equip a warp cudgel. I could just go to the mock house, but I can't be fucked right now. We'll go to an area that's being affected, and we'll do a comparison of what the two little screens look like. Damn, Amataru. I cannot tell you how many times, spoiler alert, it's a fucking lot, where Ataru in my party gets hate for approximately 2 seconds and then gets crit on the first incoming attack, and then the monster weapon skills and almost instantly kills them if not. So I see it happen twice. It's that meme where it's like, if I had a nickel for every time that Ataru basically dies instantly whenever they get hate for 2 seconds in Valkyrim Dunes, I'd have 2 nickels. Which is not a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. Okay, we're in Ronfar, outside the very stinky city of Sandoria. So let's take a look. So we were just looking at Zulkheim. Unless you're in the area itself, it's going to show you what you see at the top right. Let me see if you can actually see what I'm describing. Oh, shit. Nope, that's not it. What the hell was that? I just controlled my OBS and I didn't mean to. That's kind of alarming. Okay, so at the top right, I'm going to take a look to see if you can actually see what I'm saying. Yes. Okay, so at the top right, you'll see regional control. Next tally is in X number of days. This tally number is lying to you. It's always going to be Sunday, Japanese midnight. For me, that's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. And that's going to give you a vague approximation of who is currently winning as of literally right now. The fight for control of the zone, because let's see, Sandoria apparently is doing extraordinarily well. There must be a lot of Sandorians that are constantly fighting and winning right now without dying very much. Bastok and Winders, it's not even close. If it were closer, it would say something like major or minor. Let me see if I can find an example of that. Yeah, so for example, Bastok is doing relatively well compared to Sandoria and Windurst. But that's the basic idea. You don't need to take much stock at all in what this bar is saying, and I'll explain why in a moment. Sometimes it flips to the other side. I don't really know why. But we're going to look at the area that we're in. We're in Ronfar right now. I would like to... Wait, what if we do this? What if I move to the other side? Okay. So when you're in the area, it's going to show you an actual bar representing each of the nations and their progress. Sandoria is winning, which is not surprising at all because Ronfar is right next door. Are you guys not getting any Spotify right now? You're not. Why? You've just been hearing me this whole time? That's horrifying. Why is Spotify muted? I never told it to do that. The fuck? Okay, now you're getting jams. Very, very strange. I don't know why, but you should hear music now. All right, back to what I was saying. So regional influence, Sandoria is doing very well. Not surprising at all because it's their front doorstep that they just literally come from the city and then they go outside and they start killing shit. Okay, there's no equivalent to Bastok. There isn't like a Bastokan population that do be hanging out on a regular basis in Sandoria. Maybe for short bits of time, or maybe as part of a concerted effort or otherwise to try to flip the area. In most cases, you're always going to see Sandoria have control, consistently speaking, of Ronfar. You'll always see Bastok, relatively speaking, in control of Gustaberg, and Winders is all about that. Saruta Barassi is what I was going to say, so we're just going to get it out there. When a nation captures an area, just based off of raw experience, it is extremely difficult for, outside of those 3 areas I just described, it's extremely difficult for a nation to hold control of those areas again. I don't know if it's some kind of modifier that's being applied in the background, but it is, in order for Winders to hold control of Zolkheim again, they have to fight like fucking hell in order to retain control of it. Probably 2 to 3 times harder and more regularly, giggity, than they were to even get control over the area to begin with. Let's see. Yeah, seems really accelerated for areas that you don't control. Like when you're fighting conversely in an area that you don't control, your contributions to that bar increasing seems to be more significant. The only time that you'll ever really see, like I mentioned, these areas flip is if it's part of like a concerted effort to flip it. And these bars swing literally all the time. You'll almost, and it varies with the difficulty of the area too. So for example, it's very rare to see Tabnasia, this area that's in like the Chains of Promethea expansion zones, to seeing it ever flip to any particular party. Like it takes a lot of effort over a long period of time, typically significantly right before zone of control flipping is supposed to happen. Like there has to be a party that's ready to go and fighting in the area and killing shit constantly. That's easy prayer or higher in this area in order to get it to actually flip. So it's not unusual. Like if, for example, Bastok was trying to get control of Lee Talor for some reason, there are people that are out there that will set up parties for the express purpose not getting experience points. They're just coming out here in order to try to get control because maybe they like the stuff that the that the regional vendor specific shops sell that are tied to Lee Talor. Other than you getting more conquest points from fighting in areas that you control and getting access to items that you wouldn't have available otherwise based off of your rank and the place of your nation in the grand scheme of things, it's because you get access from having control over these areas to certain items that are tied to things called regional vendors that will only ever sell those things if somebody has control of the areas that they're associated with. You can go on the wiki, classic FFXI wiki. They have all the different regional vendors that are on there in case you're curious. There's, in most cases, there's going to be a vendor in one of the cities that sells the things. So like just because you're Bastoken, you can't go to Winders, and somewhere in Winders there's somebody that is selling the produce or whatever you want to call it that is associated with Valkyrim Dunes. I'm almost done, Hero. I promise. Apparently this is taking a little bit longer than I expected. If players die too much in general, the area will go to Beastman instead, in which case there's no regional vendor that's associated with it at all. Like nobody sells anything anywhere tied to the zone. You can't set your spawn there. Your home point can't be set there. You can't refresh your signet there. you'll still get increased conquest points and stuff like that, but basically it's super bad. The Beastmen winning means that the situation has deteriorated enough that so many players are dying that nobody has access to nice things anymore related to the area specifically. Controlling an area lets you deliver supplies from your own nation gate guard, so you need to actually be in Bastok in order to get to do the supply mission. As far as I remember, I don't think you can go to the embassy and grab a supply quest from there. Maybe you can. I'll correct the record, I guess, if that is the case. But you can grab a supply quest for a area that you have not been to yet. And the reason why you would want to do that is you have to have control of the area that you want to do the supply quest for. But when you do that, you take the supply, you go to a guard that's in the area, either at the outpost directly, and sometimes there's other gate guards that are around the area. And you take the supplies over to them, you talk to them once, they acknowledge that you delivered supplies, you'll get a really shitty number of conquest points, but most importantly, you'll unlock outpost teleport warping, and there's an outpost teleport NPC that you can find on the wiki that you can talk to when you're a minimum level in order to go to the place that you're trying to go to easily teleport there. And get sent back to your home city from said outpost teleporters. Let's see. If you do like a supply quest to said area and you unlock the outpost for that area there, like for example, you see the little blue Bastoken flag next to North Gustaberg, that means that the outpost is there. Outposts don't move or anything like that. When you lose control of an area, say like Winders, really pulled it together and took control of Gustaberg, you can still use the outpost teleporter to go over there. It's just if you're using the outpost teleporter from your home city, there's like an increased expense for doing so. Or if you're trying to use the use the outpost guard that's there in order to warp back to your home city, it costs more. It's the same type of like fee structure that I described before. So control points swing wildly all the way up to being calculated at Japanese midnight on Sundays. So if you're trying to capture the area, groups will typically start killing a massive number of monsters right up to the time that the conquest tally happens. And this is more of an obscure thing, and I'm almost done going on this crazy tirade that I'm on right now, I promise. Control points can be gained by donating equipment, like equipment that you're not using anymore or equipment that you buy to outpost NPCs. Not everyone knows this because it's hard enough to get money in the game, and it's a really obscure system. It's not like you have to donate a fucking metric F ton of, I don't know why I just veiled over me saying F. I said fucking and then I tried to veil the F word. I don't know what's going on, man. I can't decide. I can't put a pin in it whether this is supposed to be like it's like a Christian Minecraft server or what the hell it is that I'm approaching with. But you can't donate equipment. It just takes a whole lot. It's unclear if having higher level equipment matters. I think it has something to do with the perceived gil worth of selling. Like if you go to a shop and you're going to sell your pantyhose +1 and it was going to give you 1,000 gil if you sold that item, and then you went up there and you were like, I would like to sell my leather catsuit, and it's only going to give you like 100 gil instead, the pantyhose +1 is going to give you more control points than the leather catsuit would. How many? I don't know. It's just a bar. You don't get any like, oh, thank you for donating. You just got 100 control points for your nation in furtherance of the zone. Then he pulls a little firework out, and then you both feel good about that because you get the dopamine source from the firework going off and from seeing a number. No, he just says thank you for your donation. This should help the cause or something to that effect. From what I understand, it takes a lot of equipment to do this. It's only really viable if you're like a millionaire or a multi-millionaire and you very badly want and control of an area for something. Like, I don't know, like what's an example? Like you want you're basically like on the it's 10:59 EST on a Sunday, and you're like, I have 10,000 pieces of equipment. and I really want the bow greens that you can only have access to from buying from the regional vendor that's associated with Foreign Gotti. So I'm just gonna dump everything into the outpost there and let her rip. You could be the guy in that case, in that freak circumstance. Almost never worth it. Most people don't do that. I've heard some people do it. Most people, if they really care about swinging control of a zone, will just get together a normal looking party, probably find something that is easy prey to them, and just kill those things all the way up to the time that the tally is going to happen, and that's typically enough to swing it. Let's see. So some equipment, it'll always state it, will give you bonuses if you're fighting in areas that you don't control, or that you do or don't control. So there's, like, for example, if I go into my wardrobe and I try to find the mean piece of equipment that I bought, thinking that I would eventually have access to it. I gotta make sure that you can see this. This gold musketeer's ring is a horizon added thing. It only does something if I'm in an area that is controlled by Bastok. It does nothing else. It's a ring. All races can equip it. I can only equip it if I'm level 60 or above, but it only gives me 4 defense, 3 vitality, and 5 accuracy if I'm in a Bastok controlled area. If I'm anywhere else, it does fuck all. There are items, I don't think I have anything on me right now that shows this, but there's also items that say outside of your own nation's control. That means literally anywhere that is not your own nation. It'll be active if you're in Juno. It'll be active when the Horizon devs release Treasures of Ottergon, and you're in the besieged areas and you're fighting for your dang life in West Ottergon against, the sexy snake ladies that come out of the Arapago Islands. Even though it doesn't make sense, because the conquest system does not extend to the Empire of Ottergon. They don't recognize these proxy wars that are happening to the west. You can have something that is giving you like 5 extra MP if you're in an area outside your own nation's control in Western Ottergon or Halvung territory or Arapago Islands, because you're still technically outside of your nation's control. It's why some items that have that description are so popular and sought out. There's like this cape that I've been wanting for a very long time, and I had it on the private server Eden, and I don't have it here, that gives you it lessens the amount of magic damage that you take any type of damage source that you take. I think I have to look it up on something like that. If you're in any area outside of your control. Let's take a look down here. Didn't know some of this stuff. Very nice, informative. Good. I'm glad. If you are a new person in general and you've liked whatever has come out of my mouth in these last 30 plus minutes, make sure that you mash that follow button. I am full of information, and I am happy to just kind of like word salad you at any time that seems best. There's not too much more here. Conquest points could be used to refresh your experience points bonus ring. You get a free voucher for it if you complete the tutorial. That's more of an aside than anything. The last thing that I'm going to go on about is Garrison events. If you don't know what a Garrison event is, I do not blame you. It's one of those million things that the game does not tell you about. To some people, it's a super cool system that is very overlooked. To others, it's not really something that they seek out. And for the most part, the reason why you don't see or hear Garrison events and either like callouts in cities, you don't see people saying like, hey, we need one more for Garrison. You might see it like once every literal week or something like that. But it's because there's a crazy number of conditions that have to be satisfied for you to be able to do this specific event. You want to do this specific event if it becomes available to you because it gives you experience points boosting scrolls. Like you just eat the scroll and it gives you a blanket amount of experience just for participating. It gives you these things called mannequin parts, which some people care about, where you can combine all the mannequin parts together in order to get a mannequin, because it's a nice it's a cute thing to have in your mock house, and it drops unique equipment. equipment that you won't be able to get anywhere else other than Garrison. The most forehead example that I can give you is Garrison Tunica set, if you want to look that up and see what the stats are. It's neat. It's a neat thing. Is it required in any way, shape, or form to do these Garrison events? No. Would I be able to say reliably that people would do them more regularly or seek them out if they gave the same amount of worth, for lack of a better way of saying it, as something like Eco Warrior does every week? Maybe people would seek it out more often, but I'll finish it by explaining what Garrison is. So Garrison requires, let's go back to the region map, not Besiege, my beloved. If you go back to the Garrison map, you'll see balance of power at the top right. In order for you to be able to do the Garrison event at all, your nation needs to be in first or second place, and that, whether your nation is in first, second, or third place, depends on the number of areas that they control on the world map, which you kind of covered before. So let's say that we wanted to do, and I actually did this once, let's say that we wanted to do the Garrison event in Ronfar. Okay, there's no difference as in the Garrison event. There's different like levels of Garrison events, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to give you the basic idea of it because it's translates everywhere. Let's say that we wanted to do Garrison event in Ronfar or Gustaberg or Surudabruda. So in order for you to be able to do it at all, your nation needs to be in first or second. We've already covered that. You need to have active control of whatever the area is that you're trying to do it in. So first and second place of your nation, and you have to have control, say, of like Gustaberg. So we're set on that. We're technically allied, which means that we're in the second place, even though it shows us as third. That little closed bracket means that we're allied, which effectively makes us in second. So we would those two conditions are met. The third condition is that you need a special item that drops off of specific monsters at a low drop rate. So there are like level 18-ish Quadov that are in Palboro mines that drop this specific item, and the drop rate is not high. It helps if you have like a thief helping you out with their treasure hunter. So you have the item, you're in first or second place, and you have control of the area. Now you need to get a party together. So you can have up to a full alliance of 18 people, and you can start with a party. Like, so the fewer, what Garrison is a horde wave mode NPC defense event. And it always starts outside of these outposts here. So pretend this is a Bastoken guard for a second, all right? Say I had the item first or second, and we have control of the area. If I were to trade this Garrison item that I'm describing to the gate guard, he would say, oh no, the signal is true, and we're about to get fricked, and that's going to cause a whole bunch of NPCs to spawn. 10 NPCs. The NPCs are going to be attacked very quickly after that by spawning waves of, I think up to 3, spawning waves of monsters who are going to engage the NPCs. Your job is to kill, obviously, all the monsters and save and keep alive as many NPCs as you can all the way to the end. The more NPCs that you keep alive, the more chances at treasure you're going to get. The chances for additional bonuses or treasures or whatever drops, we'll just say drops, the chance for drops increases as your difficulty does. And you get more difficulty by increasing the number of people that you have with you. So just to make it easiest, 1 to 6 people can be thought of as difficulty 1. The NPCs will spawn. Not too many monsters are going to spawn. You won't get a ton of benefit out of it, but you might get something. You might get something spicy if you keep everything alive, all the NPCs. 7 to 12 people can be thought of as difficulty 2. That's what I would recommend. So if you're going to try to do this thing and everyone is on board, absolutely get up to 12, because the game is not going to care if you have 7 people. It only cares about the number of it only cares about the bracketed number of people. So like 1 to 6, it will send the same number. If it's just you trying to do the event, it's going to send the same number and difficulty of mobs that it would if you had 6 people with you. If you have 7 people, it's going to send the same number of difficulty of mobs that it would send at you if you had a whole 12 people. And 13 to 18 people would be difficulty 3. That's it. That's basically what the Conquest system is. Sometimes you just can't control whether your party is going to be able to go to an area that you're personally familiar with that is outside of your control. Just know that always make a good faith effort if you can, if it makes sense, if it lines up with your current plans and your knowledge base of what camps could be out there, to just try to party in areas that are not under your control for many reasons. But baseline is because you get more experience out of it at the end of the day. Okay. All right, let's go back to Juno. This ends the tutorialization part of the stream. Make sure you like and subscribe, baby.